everyone, Nancy from Reset Equine here, and welcome to 2017. And I guess I'm kicking off with the first of my mini video blogs for the year, and I hope to do many more of these and not bore you too much and offer some interesting information and introduce some new concepts and ideas and underlying themes that I guess are the fundamental foundations of everything that we try to do in preparing the functional and developing the functional horse, and also increasing sustainable mobility for as long as possible. We don't like it when things go wrong and there's injuries occur and possibly career-ending circumstances happen. So anyway, that's my little babble at the start. Basically, one of the things that I want to talk about today to start off 2017 is one of the most common conversations I have with many of my clients and many people over the years, and it's a common misconception, and it's one that keeps coming up, and I'm sure it will keep coming up, but I'll try to impact where I can on spreading more education and knowledge on the topic. And it's the frustration between people in different disciplines and different codes of sport and horse performance, that no one quite understands what their individual horses need, basically, and what their structural, basically, physiological requirements are, even to the degree that there are isolated regions of the horse that physiologically can be disregarded between disciplines. So you get very different views of how the horse functions and what its needs are between your endurance riders and your thoroughbred gallopers, your standardbreds, pacers, your cutting horses, your dressage horses, your grenters. It goes on. Everyone thinks that no one quite understands what they're doing. I guess, pretty much they don't. I have to agree with that. No one really understands what everyone else is doing. But the misconception is that the horse differs to the degree in its performance that it is using entirely different systems and modes of performance and movement patterns. And I guess when we look at it from an empathetic perspective, a human runner can run with no hands, can't they? But when you think about it from a horse perspective, things are quite different. The horse is a quadruped. If they don't have their forelimbs or they are missing a hind hoof, then they get into a lot of trouble with their movement, basically. They require these movement patterns. We, with the capacity as a biped, I think that's the correct term for it, basically have the option to shake things up a bit. Functionally, the horse is the same. How it undertakes this task well or sustainably for a long period of time in this performance will basically always be the same. The base foundation, which underlies 99% of the horse's physiology, doesn't differ. The support systems and the movement pathways are always the same. Now, you're probably thinking, oh my God, this woman is crazy. My trail horse that I use on the weekends, basically, and I head out for an hour, 2 hours, the whole day, and meet some friends at the pub, and we have a drink, and then we ride home again. It does not need to do piaffe. It does not need to do half pass. It does not need to do canter, pirouettes. Correct. I agree. Absolutely. But let's take that back a bit and have a think about it. Those are things that you are doing with your horse or not doing with your horse. They're not how the horse does it. They're not how the horse moves. The movement patterns which define that, basically. These movement patterns which initiate the movements such as half pass, canter pirouette, piaffe, they're exactly the same movement patterns that you would be requiring throughout the process of heading up the trail, even 50 metres. They are still the same activation patterns occurring. They're just happening in a different timing, to a different degree, and executing different physiological stresses on the horse's body. And therefore, the dressage horse has to be prepared differently at a Grand Prix level to the horse that is doing a trail ride up the road for 500 metres or 3 hours or the whole day. In the end, though, when you look at it, the trail horse is probably likely to experience physiological issues earlier on at a faster rate if it isn't prepared with some level of gymnastic capacity, even to undertake its trail riding activities. Whereas the Grand Prix dressage horse is likely to cope quite well with a trail ride for a couple of hours. Interesting thought, that one. Have a think about that. So Those are things that you do with your horse, not how your horse does it. So what I'm getting at is you can't change the way that the horse moves. All you can do is impact on the quality and basically the structural activation in regard, that's the wrong word. You can only impact on the quality and the structural potential of the horse that you have in front of you. Patterns of movement integration are always the same. Your racehorse, your cutting horse, does not have selectively utilized regions of its body over others. No, it all works as a system, basically. And you can't change that DNA, that written DNA system of the functional self-preservation of the horse. You can only basically tweak the neurological and metabolic pathways which support this, and then ultimately provide you with your performance factors, basically, that either gain you or lose your penalties, really, in the end. So, speaking about that, and not being able to write or impact any measurable differences, for example, on the abdominal activation or the dorsospinal top line support of an event horse over a harness horse, for example. So think about it that way. The body systems work the same. They don't really change at all. It's either doing its job for each horse or it's not. It's either on or it's off, basically. A ballet dancer's spine does not work any differently to a bricklayer's spine. You know, what they do with it and how they use it and how they maybe abuse it will differ, but the functional process of it working does not change at all, basically. So I'm going to finish there. I've talked way too long. Hopefully I will learn to actually simplify these things and get my points across a little bit better over time. But thinking back at that, doesn't that simplify things a little bit? When we're looking at fundamental majority of the processes of the horse that we're trying to train and physiologically prepare for the activities that we want to do, the underlying processes are not different. So that should simplify things a little bit. And never forget, the horse is always a horse. It doesn't change. It's their speciality. All right, that's enough from me today, and I hope to catch up with you next time. And yeah, have a lovely day. Bye.